Welcome back to Math 103. This is video number 2 on fair distribution. Having completed the first settlement, we ask, how much surplus cash is there? How much cash is left over after Cheatham has paid into the account and Dewey and Howe have drawn from the account? The surplus is exactly the amount paid into the account minus the total amount withdrawn. In other words, $240,000 minus a total of $190,000 for a surplus of $50,000. Exactly $50,000 are still in the account at this moment. I'd like to caution you about a common student error. A common error at this moment is to think that the $240,000 that Cheatham has paid in constitutes the surplus. But that can't be right, because Dewey and Howe have received a total of $190,000, and that $190,000 had to come from somewhere. The only place it could have come from was this same bank account that we put Cheatham's $240,000 into. There's no outside source of money here. So all of this is going into or coming out of the same bank account, and it's only $50,000 net that's left in the end. The rule for this method is that the surplus cash, however much it is, gets divided equally among the players. So how much surplus cash does each player receive? Well, $50,000 divided by 3 equals $16,666.67. Now there is a small round-off error in the computation. Okay, if you had a calculator that displayed many more digits, these sixes would keep going, but we're not going to worry about this fraction of a cent. Now we're ready to describe the final settlement. The final settlement is the ultimate statement of who gets exactly what. This is going to tell us who gets exactly how much cash, or exactly how much cash do they end up paying, and which items do they receive. So we already know how the items go, but we have to think a little bit about the effect that the surplus cash has on the net amount that each person either pays into the bank account or receives from the bank account. Dewey originally received $100,000 from the bank account and is now receiving an additional $16,666.67 because of the surplus. That means that the net amount he receives is the sum of these numbers, namely $116,666.67. Cheatham started out paying $240,000 into the bank account. We don't add 16,000 something to that. Instead, we subtract. The way to think of this is that he started out paying a certain large amount, and now he's getting a rebate. He's getting 16-something thousand dollars back. He's paying a little bit less. Specifically, he's paying only $223,333.33. Howe is just like Dewey in this respect. He started out receiving $90,000 from the bank, and now he receives an additional $16,666.67. That brings his total to $106,666.67. We do have to keep our wits about us when we solve this problem, just to keep track of whether we're adding or subtracting at this stage, but it does make sense. Whoever was originally receiving money is now receiving more. Whoever was paying originally is now paying less. Now that we have the final settlement written out in front of us, there's a way that we can check our work, and that does not mean to go back to the beginning and redo it. It means to seeing whether our final results actually make sense. In particular, we can check whether the total amount of money paid into the bank account equals the total amount of money paid out of the bank account at the end of the day. They'd very well better be equal because all the money has to be accounted for, and there is no external source of money in this situation. When we check whether the total in this column for the amount paid into the bank account equals the total amount in that column for the amount received from the bank account, they are indeed equal apart from a very tiny round-off error. Right? So those round-off errors are not going to be a problem for us. They don't indicate that we made a mistake. Right? So for our purposes, these numbers do agree with one another, which is a pretty good indication that we've very probably done this problem correctly. Or at any rate, if we made a mistake very early on, we carried on correctly from there. If these two numbers did not agree, then for certain that would mean we had made a mistake. and we should go back and try to figure out what that mistake was. Please go on to the next video.